Today we'll be interviewing Damn Yankee Glass in our interview and smoke sesh. Tell them a little bit about yourself, like your how long you've been in business and how you came up with your DYG name.
All right, so I've been blowing glass for around 6.5 years, and it didn't really become a business until about maybe a year or 2 years ago. It was a lot of studying and practicing and doing repetitive stuff over and over and over, just trying to hone my skills until I felt I was able to produce something out. And I look back and I just thought of it as like making tools or like working all the time. And my grandfather's tool shed said "Damn Yankee" across it. So I thought the idea, well, why don't I make that my business name? Because I've been building this forever and ever and ever, working in like the tool shed basically.
Okay, and that's interesting too because it kind of keeps your business as a reminder of your family. Um, you told me one time that you went on a apprenticeship. Tell us a little bit about that.
I went out to Illinois and I was directed by John McElnero of American Glasscraft. He's been blowing glass for a little over 50 years. His dad started teaching him when he was 7. So I went out there and he showed me some very old school techniques and kind of like pointed me in the right directions that I was trying to find but couldn't just necessarily hit. I was searching and searching but couldn't find the right little areas that I needed to do. And he kind of like showed me the way a little bit and was like, hey, you do this like this, or just change the way you're doing this a little bit and you'll be able to get the results you want. So he kind of filled my head with a lot of stuff that I could work on for a while.
Okay, tell me a little bit about not the shows, but the outings you had where you went with your boss, or not your boss, but your master to sell glass at like
Oh,
the.
so he actually worked a bunch of like fairs and festivals. He would go into like the county fairs or like the state fairs and he would set up a table with all the glass that he made. He would prepare like usually all year long and then go and set up. And so I went over the summer before he set up at these fairs and helped him prepare on stuff. And I went to these fairs and set up and blew glass live. And I never like blown glass in front of people or anything like that. So it was a really great experience and kind of forcing me to, push my stuff out there. And here's me as an artist. Here I am. Here's my stuff.
Excellent. So you could say that it compares to a musician's first stage show.
Yeah, you could say that. There was definitely like big crowds of people coming around me while I was, doing my thing. And it was a little nerve wracking, but I focused on what I was doing and just started crushing everything out and just accepted what it was. So yeah, it was
Yeah,
pretty similar to that.
yeah, man. I mean, you get through that first show, and it adds that little confidence, that little boost of inspiration. Speaking of inspiration, what would you say that your earliest inspirations for getting into the glass blowing business were?
Well, I always felt like I was like a typical stoner. I was like, I like smoking weed, lots of weed. So I'm gonna make pipes. Figured that was something productive I can do with my time that related to something I put a lot of time into. Because when I look back on it, I was like, well, what's something that I've done a lot and spent a lot of money on that I can't really get back? And well, that was smoking weed. So I was like, well, I'll try to recuperate a little bit of that loss, by getting into this pipe scene, by doing this thing and also evolving a passion into it because I had spent so much time on it already. So why not build something great out of it?
Amazing, awesome. Were there who would you say is the most influential glass blower besides yourself in your glass blowing career, or artists in general?
Ooh, that's a hard question. I don't know. I respect so many different artists and I follow a lot of different people who have a lot of different styles. So I don't know. I don't really have a favorite. I guess I have influences from people like Kairu Glass or like people who are in the very like creature aspect things or very dark art. So it's really just like a broad spectrum. You could just fall in the spectrum and I could just like your work because you're in that area.
Okay, you said that you mentioned Monster Glass. Could you tell us a little bit about pieces that you've made other than like bongs and bowls, like any like jewelry, anything outside of the realm of pothead tools?
Oh yeah, so that was one of the things that my teacher showed me, actually, kind of like looking back to a few questions before. So he was said the money isn't all in the pipes. There's more money in doing the sculptural work, all the stuff that's lost, all these techniques that people don't know how to do. And if you take these things and you implement them into your pipe work, it'll be a lot better. You'll be able to do the things that you want to do still. So I do focus a lot on sculptural stuff, a lot of solid work, because with sculpture, you can do hollow sculpting or solid sculpting, and I focus mostly on solid sculpting because I like to just build kind of 3D on top of things and push them in and move them around like that. So I make a lot of like chain link jewelry. There's a Instagram video I have where it's a bracelet and it's like a solid glass bracelet and the chain is glass around it with a clasp. So I do like jewelry aspect stuff as well, not just all pipes. I got into it because of the pipes, but I learned that there was other aspects that you needed to dive into and learn, not just making pipes.
Okay. So I have your Instagram pulled up, and I'm seeing a lot of interesting work here. I kind of want to ask about some of the stranger pictures because you got a lot of beautiful glass on here, but there are some things that I see that aren't glass but seem to be glass related. What can you tell me about this picture?
Oh, okay, so that's my workbench.
Yeah, tell us. I'll make it a little bigger. Tell us a little bit about your workspace.
Okay, so right now I have a small shed. It's one of the smaller spaces that I've worked in throughout my career, but it has everything I need in it, essentially. I have a sandblasting cabinet. I have a slight cold working station. I have areas where I can like apply all the things I need for like fine little details to my glass, like a small display area. And then I have the workbench, and there's a guy here, his name is Molecular Carpentry in Virginia. And he builds these molecular sculptures as shelves. So he traded me a tool rack for a pipe. I wanted a mushroom pipe. So I traded him this pipe for the tool rack that I have. That's what you can see in the background.
Okay, is this rack here?
Yeah.
Okay. Your friend is in the right mood right there. Oh, I see that it's one of the pieces that you mentioned aside from your smoke pieces.
So that's one of the things that my teacher showed me how to make as well. He showed me how to do horses. And it just kind of blew my mind. I never knew how to sculpt glass. That was one of the things I wanted him to teach me. I wanted to learn, and going on this apprenticeship, I wanted to figure out how people took glass, these like rods of glass, and manipulated it to come out with these shapes that were like breathtaking, crazy looking. Like how did you make that horse that looks like a real horse? So I watched them meticulously, and then when he would go to work, I would go into the glass studio at like 9 o'clock in the morning. And then the first thing I would practice little horses waiting on the kiln to warm up to like 1,000 degrees so I could get to work on the stuff he needed me to make. And so I would do all this stuff, and then he'd come home around like 3-4 o'clock and be like, all right, good job. And then he'd go inside, tell me dinner's done, I'd go up, eat dinner, and go back in the shop and leave at like 9-10 o'clock, sometimes midnight. So I was I knocked out all the work he needed me to knock out for the day, and then he told me I could make whatever I want. Just let him know what I was using and don't waste his material. So it was really nice chance.
Yeah, and it's very nice to have a mentor in anything you do, especially someone with a high level of skill. There's so much that you can draw from that if you just take advantage of those opportunities sometimes. I think people underestimate the little things, and they look for things that are too flashy sometimes. Sometimes you gotta look in the dirt and find a diamond.
Or cut it enough times.
Yeah. um. Okay. This is a video we were discussing beforehand. Let me turn this volume up. What can you tell me about this piece?
Is that the bass one? I'm sorry, there was feedback on the Twitch on the stream. I had to end it.
Oh, hey, it's fine. It's yeah, it's the skull piece with the audio.
Okay, yeah. So that's another like thing that I've been practicing for a long time before I actually came out with the shape that I was like, okay, I can do this shape, not necessarily a repetitive manner, but I like the shape of the head, I like the mouth location, I like where I made the eyes. And then I started filling them in as kind of like demon sculptures because I put a lot of emotion into my work. And I don't know, I feel like life is balanced. You have good and you have bad, you know, you have great and you have not so great. It just is what it is. You can't have one without the other. So that's another thing I implement into my work. I try to put stuff that maybe are dark or, you know, this isn't a good time in my life, so I'm gonna like bring this out, but I'm gonna make it into a positive nature. I'm gonna take this feeling that's not so great and I'm gonna put it on the other side. You know, maybe it's not so great becomes great, because there are things that are great that just flip over to not so great all the times. Just because life needs balance. So that's one of the things that I try to push into my work a lot.
Okay, I've been following your work for a little while now, and well, more than a little while, maybe for quite a few years. And I still have to tell you, man, my favorite was the snowflake piece.
Okay.
Like, to me, it came out so clean, and just starting from the base and ending with the level of detail that was in this piece. I mean, I feel like it's got the most detail out of all of the pieces.
Really? Okay. So that was another thing that my teacher showed me how to make too. Those are Christmas tree ornaments. It's an old school item. So it's actually like kind of simple. I won't show his secrets away and just give them away, but it's pretty simple how you make them. And then as long as it's just the motion of getting it down, like with anything, as long as you get the motion of what you're trying to do down, it'll come out clean and detailed. And that was another thing I practiced. And I've just always liked how pretty they are too. They just seem to like glisten and spin, and just reminds me of like the 50s or the 60s.
Yeah, to me, that's probably the most impressive piece, besides that big ass monster piece you showed me. Okay. So I saw this in the background of your desk earlier, also, I believe. Your saltwater fish tank.
Okay, that's actually, so it was saltwater and I had it on my workbench for a while, but it got too cold outside and my coral died sadly. So I moved it inside and I turned it into a freshwater tank. And I started taking all the stuff that I was trying hard to make and it just didn't make it through, or I messed up here, I messed up there. And I started putting it in the bottom of the fish tank. That way I could look at it each day and be like, all right, where did I mess up? How can I fix this? Or how can I fix that? Or maybe I can gain some inspiration from something I've done before and moved on, maybe forgot about, or just things of that nature.
It's the glass blowing equivalent of taking notes.
Kind of, yeah. Well, I don't know. Sometimes stuff like that I would just throw away.
Yeah,
or, you know,
just
somewhere.
Just something to go back and reference to move forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's hop off. Well, let's hop off Instagram real quick. If there's any pages you'd like to promote, we're reaching our half-hour mark. I still got a few more things that I'd like to go through, but at our half-hour mark, sometimes the ad runs, so I want to go ahead and get your.
Yeah, actually, there are a few things I would like to promote. I'm in the midst of, one of my friends created a candle business, and we're in between building it and it being finished. We're almost putting the like little finishing touches on it. We have a website made, We have products, we have business cards. You know, you can go on Taysgreenlife.com to get whatever you want. For as far as candles, I've started making glass pendants that are hidden inside large orders, and these are candles that they're promotion of energy stuff. So if you have like a bad feeling in your life, or you know, just you're tired and you can't go to sleep, they have herbs blended to make you feel these things. Like I'm sure everyone has heard before that lavender makes you tired. So lavender is one of the ingredients in the sleepy time one, you know. So it's also
like aromatherapy.
Herbs. Yeah, exactly. They're very much therapeutic candles, as well as they smell really great.
Okay.
I think I actually have some. Hold on one second.
Yeah, we plug merch around here. If you got merch and I'm interviewing you, you can plug it.
So this is one of the candles. This is one of the large candles.
And these are all homemade homemade candles, right?
Yes, they're made with soy.
Vegan candles.
Oh, you can call it that. I also have like smaller versions too. This is one of the sleepy time candles.
On the go feel goods.
Yeah, and you can see there's herbs in there.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It smells so great. I want to light it right now.
She grind us blood.
These are orders that people are about to come pick up though, so I cannot. I'm also doing photography stuff as well. I have a photography page that's linked on my Instagram. It's Hyacinth Photography.
Well, you take all the pictures for your work that you post.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, and some of those are really in nice quality.
All the product pictures for the candles as well.
Okay, so now that we got our plugs out the way, I just wanted to get that in because plug him, and then my ad's probably about to run in like 30 seconds, which is no big deal.
First, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean we're just gonna go on with the interview like normal, but you know, it'll take a break and then pop back where we are. But okay, so moving on. Tell me, well, we just talked about the candles. I was gonna ask you a little bit about that business because I had asked you about maybe interviewing your friend who's also, or your partner. I don't know that business relationship, but yeah, getting an interview with her and letting her elaborate a little bit more about the business aspects of that and how she kind of got into all of that. So hopefully be looking forward to that. We got to see how it goes. Oh, here's something a lot of people might not know. Tell me about your little, well, I shouldn't say little because I'm not belittling because it wasn't bad. When you write, you're good. Tell me about your music venture. You sent me a couple of them bars.
Oh, well, I don't know that. I felt like I've always been an artist, but I didn't know how to get what was in my head out. And I do write poetry. I write stuff, and I'm like, damn. No offense to anyone who's actually made it doing this stuff, because they're very talented and takes skill to do that. But like, I've read stuff that I've wrote, and like, damn, this is better lyrics than most of the songs on the radio. So I was like, well, why don't I just try to put my stuff out like that? So I was on a venture for a while, traveling around trying to do stuff with the music scene, trying to create beats or go digital with stuff, and it just didn't take. But one thing that did take, it's funny you brought that up, is I do a lot of digital work in my class now, and that was one of the first things that I tried, like, with the music stuff. I wanted to dive deep into computer work and figuring this stuff out, and you know, I really wanted to become a digital artist, but I felt like I could draw the stuff the way I wanted it to come out. Another one of those transition from head to reality thing. And the only thing I was able to do that with was the glass. So I found the glass first, and then started venturing back to stuff that I had previously tried and like kind of failed or given up on, to see, if maybe it was my fault just because I gave up on it and didn't try hard enough.
So, have you heard? I forget what I was watching, but you know how they used to put sounds into like clay, like with the little grooves and shit.
Yeah.
Nowadays they can pretty much do that with anything. I think it would be interesting if you made a bowl with a song on it.
Okay, so I have tried to make stuff with QR codes on it before. It's where you scan the QR code. I haven't been able to get it right because I think my backgrounds aren't like the proper contrast to be able for it to pick up. But that's a really good idea.
I think you can print them as like No.
Well, the problem is I use clear glass a lot, so it kind of shines through and reflects light to different areas, so it doesn't exactly pick up the contrast that needs to be.
But after you smoke for a while, it won't.
This is true. You're gonna have to use it a long time, and then you'll be able to find out the secret that it's been hiding.
Yeah, it's like a reward. All right, we're approaching the end of our stream. I didn't want to make this too long. I would like to sit down later and maybe go a little bit more in depth into some of the glass blowing things, and maybe talk about the spirit molecule, but separate stream. If anybody's looking for quality glass at a decent price, ships anywhere. Yeah, ships anywhere. No shipping restrictions. I'm putting your thing up here. Come check out this Instagram page here. It's Damn Yankee Glass on Instagram. He makes everything from pipes to pendants, sculptures, and anything that you can think of. He can probably put it together for you. There's even a stained glass piece right here. Look at that shit. So
no, I don't do stained glass.
Then what is this one? Oh, you can't see it, but it's like a pendant with red, white, blue.
That's called a cut and flip.
Oh, okay.
So I basically drew that with different colors.
Oh, okay. It fooled me for a second. It looks like stained glass.
That's cool.
And he does sandblasted work. Before we go, let me ask you about this piece. It's a cloudy piece with a tree and the grass, or like grass at the bottom, a couple of plants on the side.
What are you talking about, the mini beaker?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
it says,
yeah.
Nature sprouts in the strangest place and flourishes.
Yeah. So I try to incorporate nature into my work as well, because that's what's all around us. Like, yes, I use technology and I use electricity to create these things, but honestly, none of that would exist without nature, and without trees, and without grass, without flowers, without any of these things. So I try to put that into my work so people remember these things, and you're kind of smoking trees out of the pieces. So, but that's one of the things that I started with my sandblasting work when I was signed to a local shop here named Culture, and I made a series of about 5 of those mini tubes. And I sandblasted them all with trees and grass. And I looked out my window and I looked out my shop and was looking at stuff around me, and I was like, this is what I see. This is what I'm going to incorporate. So when people take my pieces, they see what I see when I make them. So there's many different things that I draw from for my inspiration, or anything I use to create my work, or any business adventure notice that I may have.
All right. And what a way to end the stream. I'm gonna clip that shit and send it to you.
Okay.
Oh shit. This is not a mini pig.
Yes, sir, it is.
Goddamn, man. That shit is awesome. And it's
Thank
like
you.
it's I just say the art style, I get it. I get it. It looks great.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you for coming on today. DYG, give you guys a little content and kind of give you a feel for how the podcasts are going to go down and how the kind of the general mood. On top of that, you get to see some amazing work. We'll be working with artists from every genre, from obviously from glass blowing to music to woodworking, everything. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you go check out Damn Yankee Glass on Instagram and show them some love, y'all. Show them some love. Thank you so much for coming in, man.
Oh yeah, of course. Glad to be here.